Lecrae and D1 were mentioned on Kendrick's last song, and the Breakfast Club started talking about it. And I think we're uniquely qualified to talk about this because the young lady, Lauren LaRosa, said something that we've heard over and over again since we started doing music, since we started doing this. And it's a challenge that we are still trying to figure out how to break through. But listen to what she said.
If you're just joining us, we played D1's track as I don't want to say a response to Kendrick Lamar, but as Charlamagne said earlier, it's kind of like passing the baton. We also just played Lecrae, so we're just getting your thoughts. Hey, what do you think, Lauren?
You think, or you asked me if I think people want that?
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it's phenomenal music. I think people want balance. I do think people want balance.
Who are people? Like, what people are you talking about?
Humans.
It depends. So you're talking about like everybody as the world.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think
you don't think people want balance?
No, I think that there are a group of people who are okay with listening to what they listen to that is not conscious, that just makes them feel good, that they just party to, and then they move on.
Yeah, and then there's a whole group of people who want to hear stuff like that. And that's what I mean when I say balance, because we're talking to all of those people, Lauren. We're not just talking to
Yeah, but I'm asking you, I thought you meant that all people want the balance. Like they want conscious and they want the other stuff too. I don't believe that all people want both.
I think all people? Probably not. I couldn't make a broad generalization.
I think it's also where people are in their life. Like, some people want to hear party music. They want to hear different types of music. Like Lauren wants to turn up. She don't want to hear positivity. She don't want to hear black man put your gun down. She don't want to hear let's work together. She wants to hear.
And I think
what?
And I think the problem.
I party with you before, Lauren. I know.
And a party, no, I don't want to think about the trials and tribulations of the world. I just want to have a good time.
Okay. I think that's been the problem with radio for so long. The problem with radio for so long, especially hip hop and R&B radio, is that we only super serve one audience
when it comes to it. Yes, at times, yeah.
Yep.
So I think that's what Kendrick is saying on the party. The party must die. The party is dead. The party must die.
Party's dying, or whatever.
The party must die. And I love Lecrae's responses, and I love D1's responses.
But like you said, most radio stations don't play that side of it. Like you rarely will hear Lecrae. You rarely will hear D1. I mean, at times, you rarely hear a Kendrick.
But isn't that because
you rarely hear a J. Cole? You know what I mean?
Don't the stuff that y'all have to program to play, it goes by what's popular, right? So
that's my thing,
even
Lauren.
if you're a DJ that's into all of that, like the balance,
but
you don't have a choice.
You're right, but here's the thing. If you look at the last 15 years of hip-hop, right? The biggest artists ain't even really on that. The Kendricks, the Coles, even Drake. Like Drake, he makes those records, but Drake also makes stuff that makes you think whatever.
Correct.
But then you think about the Big Seans and the Wale's and the Chance the Rapper. I'm just thinking about all the people who have been popping over the last 15 years, right?
Correct.
The Rhapsodies, who else? It's a bunch of them,
right?
But even with those people existing, you still find a way to play the low vibrational stuff that's
but
in the clubs,
also what most people don't know when it comes to radio stations, right? A record label picks a single and they go for that single, so they push that single hard.
They still do that now?
Yes, and the majority of the singles that they push are the records that are not like your Lecrae's, or the records that's not like D1's, or very, very, very not too much. You don't hear that many J. Cole records. You don't hear that many Kendrick records like that.
Because you got a bunch of salute to all the new guys that's doing that too, though. The La Russells and the Earth Gangs.
I love La Russell.
Sminos.
Like I love him. I love his music. I love the content he puts out. I love how he don't care about nothing but what he does. But a lot of people like him don't break through and they're not able to live off of what they're doing. He's doing very well for himself.
But you also got a lot of older executives in place who aren't really paying attention to that, and they're so programmed to only do what it is they know, which is research. You know what I mean? What is research?
But people also feel like, I know they always also feel like that certain people relate to them because they come from that area, that hood. Like whether it's Moneybagg Yo coming from Memphis, they feel like people feel that more in certain areas. They feel like somebody coming from Brooklyn or from the hoods in New York might feel Pop Smoke or Fabio Foreign more. It's just what people feel like, when people relate to them. And some people just don't relate to D1 or they don't relate to Lecrae.
I think the saturation of artists has a lot to do with it too. Like you don't have to have staying power. You just got to get a viral song, make it on TikTok, and then boom, a label's on your body.
And I think that's the problem. I think that's what radio reacts to. Radio reacts to those viral singles, which is fine. But once again,
so that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yes. We've been dealing with that mentality for years of people don't want they want the ratchet stuff. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of the people that work in radio, they block the godly content because they're like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
So her response when she says, "Don't you got to play the popular stuff?" Is just so you have no idea what you're saying. They make things popular.
Yeah.
You decide what's popular.
Yeah.
It's not it's popular so they play it. It's backwards.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to hear like people still think what you hear on the radio is the best music.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's what they chose to put out.
Yeah, I think for us, going back to what we understand about this is that she's showing age, and so are they. Right, they're getting to the point where they're tired of this. They want to see the balance change, and that's why I said it was good to have Kendrick, shout them out, to have these conversations. Because I don't know if you all ever heard this full interview, but there was callers calling in saying, "Go listen to this Lecrae song, go listen to this D1 song." Right, just get the conversation going, and maybe they spark something where they say, "Okay, radio stations don't need to ignore the D1s and the Lecraes and the other, music that can be a balance to people." But the thing is that she's the perfect target where she's like, I want to go to the club, I want to have fun, I don't want to be told that I'm not supposed to be doing this stuff. That's what I want to do, and that's the audience that they are paying. They are playing out for. They're going after those people who are not thinking in that mindset of let me change, let me do this, let me do something better. They just want to continue to do that, and so that dictates everything else we hear that the radio says is catchy, or you get a hook in your head and you start singing that hook. We were there. I remember being able to say, every 4 hours you're going to hear this song, and you would.
Yeah.
Well, I think she told the truth. Even though we may not like it, she told the truth. She told it from a perspective of somebody who is still like, I mean, if she's been filling in for Just Hilarious, but if you hear what she's been going through, she's still single. She's still out there. Whereas Envy and Charlamagne is more like, now they got teenage girls, and it's like, I'm worried about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though they was dogs in their previous life. You know what I mean? But
that's what I say. Age. It grows you up. You grow out of it.
You get mature. But I would say this. I'll say, I was thinking about this, telling somebody about this, and I was like, I feel like it's a blessing that the Sways, the On the Radars are popping, and they're allowing Christian artists come up there, and Christian artists are getting crazy and stuff like that. But my only precaution of that is we made the trick of the enemy of this season, dealing with the Kendricks in the world and shouting people out, could be that it's all the same.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the scary part, where it's like, Russell, and I'm not saying don't collab with people, because as an artist, that's depending on you and the Lord, what He wants you to do. But what I'm saying is, if we did get a radio station where it's positive hip hop and then it's Christian hip hop, then it's like somebody who's the listener could be like, yo, all this is the same. Yeah. It's the same.
Nothing distinctive about it being Christian.
Nothing different about these people, and I think could be a trick of the enemy. But I'm glad the conversation is happening in those spaces. But I would say this. Another problem is there's a lot of Lawrence in powerful places in radio.
Yes.
And we gotta, and the prayer should be like, God, not remove them, but God, like, either change their hearts or let them find, somebody that has that heart to see what needs to happen, to get positive music and stuff like that. But I think that's the fear, as the wisdom God has given me about that situation is like, the fear could be, that stuff will start mixing together, that you can't tell the difference between somebody who's new thought, like, not new thought, but more on the new age side versus somebody who's talking about blessings and Christianity.
Yeah, the gatekeepers tell the story. Like, we plan for hours on what we're going to do on this show. There's a lot of topics we could have done that we don't do. We control the narrative, right?
Yeah.
That happens thousands and thousands of times throughout media. People picking and choosing what story you get to hear, and based on those stories, you get a narrative. And if they don't understand, I know Lauren knows this, so if you don't understand that it's your decision, what becomes popular, what becomes noticed, what becomes in mainstream, that you have more control over it than she's making it sound. And that's, I just want to point that out.
I think too, like, without being super duper deep about it, it's obviously a spiritual aspect to this. So, like, our default setting is flesh. Like, without Christ being involved, the natural person, your default setting is things of the flesh, sin and whatnot. So when they put this music out to the masses, it's going to appeal to the masses of people, because naturally they're not going to think of the things of God. They want fleshly stuff. So that's what's going to make the money. if people are listening to that. So what you're going to do as a record company, you're in it to make money. So you're going to push whatever popular so you can make the money. When you put something that goes against the flesh and all that kind of stuff that makes you think or challenges your spiritual stance and things of that nature, like she just said, I don't want to think about life and stuff like this when I'm part of this and that. But when you're not at the party, you still not listening to the Christian music or country music.
What's crazy is the music is probably why she feels that way.
Exactly.
It taught you to feel that way.
It's ignorant. I mean, what I saw when I had when I heard it, it kind of wrote up a righteous anger in me. When I heard her say that, I was like, man, that's so corny to me right now. But that's the truth of what's really going on. Yeah. They really don't want to hear that. They want to be outside. They want to be outside doing hood rat things with their hood rat friends. You feel me? And it irritates me because I'm just like, look, this is my generation. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, it's real life embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and it's just like But at the same time, what you were saying about On the Radar earlier and stuff like that, I appreciate those platforms. I saw my sister Cece up there, my brother Keon. It was mad fire, and I saw Cece on BT. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, even though they're in these situations, if they spread the gospel correctly, the way that they should, without, because there's a way you do things, right? We can agree there's a way you do things when you're on these secular platforms. If they can do that, they're going to see fruit from it, right? Say for instance, Lauren is in the club and she is feeling like that, but the way that they're spreading the gospel is so smooth to where you catch it, but then you don't really catch it. But you can be like, man, I wonder. You sit back after you go back home, you wake up the next day or whatever, and you kind of like, man, I heard this lyric, that about God. Because the Bible says God can be using foolish things, right? Yeah. It's the small seeds, just the word, just hearing God's name in a song can open up so much.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 100% true. I think one of the things too is I think there's an assumption that these Christian artists aren't successful. Now, you might think success is, I don't know. Listen, the even in the industry, their version of success isn't success. You're in debt. You know what I mean? A lot of you guys are in debt. Yeah. And a lot of you guys continue to pile on debt to keep a lifestyle. Like 116, they make money. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like these guys are taking care of their families. They they have nice places to live and they can do what they want to do and they're doing it for the Lord. Obviously we've seen Miles Minnick having great success. You know what I mean? I'm sure you're gonna have a huge success. There are a lot of artists that have come through this studio who are very successful and connected. And I think that it's all these things that everybody said is totally correct, right? It's like the bottom line is flesh is involved in that. The enemy is crafty, and again, we know that he's using the music. You know what I mean? He's using that music. And it's got a grasp on people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what she said is not she's not the first person I've ever heard say that. You know what I mean? Because that was always the thing of like people want their flesh to be satisfied in those atmospheres. Even though, because it was making me mad though when she was saying that, because I was like, well, there's music out there that can make you dance that doesn't make you.
Not all Christian music is like preachy music.
Yeah. So, but then at the same time, it just hit me. It was like these are what people are, and it's that to me the scary part about the whole situation is not that somebody's young. It's somebody older in that state of mind. That's the scary part, because when you're in that state of mind when you're older, that means you just don't. I'm not saying you don't care about life. It's really, it's just a different mentality. That's like, man, you older.
It's almost like a self-hatred. I hate to say it, but in the black community, it's almost like a self-hatred that we have for ourselves, where we just indulge in just stuff that just tears us down. And we find joy in that. I remember being ignorant and coming into my faith. I was like, when I couldn't get high and get drunk and fornicate, I was like, man, what y'all do for fun? You know what I'm saying? It's like the things that were tearing me down, I thought that was fun and enjoyment. And like, it's a self-sabotage that we have that we got to understand. It's a better life out here.
I also want to say something about this idea of balance. That's not the answer either to Charlemagne and Envy. It's not balance that's needed. It's redemption. It's cleaning out the nonsense. You can't be okay hearing somebody tell you, take care of your body and keep it holy, and then another person tell you, do whatever you want with it, take advantage. Those don't coexist. It's not balance you need. You need truth. You need godliness. So I think you're making a compromise by even saying you wanted balance, because Charlemagne has been a part of the system for years. From when he was on Wendy Williams till now, he's been a part of what made hip hop what it is. So it's not balance that's needed. You need to clean it out. Like, this stuff is killing us. Like, there these mentalities that Lauren LaRosa has is what's been programmed inside of her. and it's the fault. We're letting it happen. We're not even doing anything about it. This music is teaching our kids to hurt themselves, like Plain was saying.
Yeah.
It's not okay just to mix in some good stuff. You got to get it out completely.